Sparkles and Shivs, it's the Con Mom Show. Stephanie
and Sarah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Con Moms. This is Sarah and
Stephanie.
Yes, and we are here today. We are talking about Harry Potter and the controversy around it. So
controversy, yeah. I feel like there shouldn't be because I feel I feel like it should be just a discussion on where do we go from here.
Mm-hmm. How do we move forward in a positive manner?
Yes,
and throw
absolutely.
Those toxic people far away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know. I have a really hard time because it's like I look at all the stuff that I own that's licensed that I bought.
Yeah.
Before all this happened, and I'm like, so much money. So, and of course, like,
so we should
probably
walk back though.
So let's walk back.
Well, let's walk back just in case somebody has not heard the news. Because you know what, it does happen.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And no judgment if you are one of those people. Nobody can know everything at once. So if you're new to why there's controversy surrounding Harry Potter property, J.K. Rowling kind of has been laying the crumbs, but over the last year really came out fully against trans people. She claims that she is not, that if trans people were being discriminated against, she would support them. But at the same time is very much proposing these really harmful attitudes that get trans people, especially trans women, attacked, and lights fire under anti-trans legislation that can deny them health care, can get them killed. And I'm not being dramatic, that actually happens. Look up trans and gay panic defense, and if you are in the US, that is a thing. So she is very supportive of legislation and efforts and groups that actively discriminate and actively seek to reduce rights, take away rights, make life harder for trans people. Mm-hmm. She can claim up and down that she is not transphobic, but her actions and her public image, with so many people listening to her and following her, she is saying one thing and doing another.
Yeah.
Or claiming one thing and doing another.
Yeah. Yeah, she's very hypocritical for sure. I've read some of her posts and I'm like, oh no.
Oh yeah.
Very problematic.
Her essay. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. J.K. Rowling is transphobic. That's just the long and short of it. In a way that, and using her power and privilege and money to throw weight behind real efforts that are causing real harm to trans people, both in the UK and around the world. So what do we do with that? Because Harry Potter is one of the hallmarks of the nerd world, especially if you grew up in a certain generation, like we did, where you were going to midnight book releases and movie releases and part of this huge Harry Potter culture. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you do with that? You know, I've cosplayed Harry Potter. I've spent a lot of money on official Harry Potter merchandise. I've spent a lot of money on unofficial Harry Potter merchandise. What do you do?
I know I didn't get into Harry Potter until I was an adult because I grew up in a very conservative family, so that was like a no-no. Mm-hmm. And then once I was like 24, 25, I like finally read it, and then I got like obsessed. But I can't even, and I feel betrayed now with all the money I spent, but like I can't even imagine like growing up as a kid and like going to all like the midnight releases of like the books and then the movies. Like that's like 2 decades worth of stuff right there. And then being like, I've spent all this time and energy towards someone that is absolutely evil. So
yeah,
it's just
Harry Potter was absolutely formative. I got my hands on the first 2 books. I want to say I was in 4th or 5th grade. And I got them. I was kind of in my Narnia stage at that point, so I wasn't really, I'd picked them up quite yet. I know that was my true gateway. But and then we had circle time reading in my 5th and 6th grade classes, and the books we had for those were Harry Potter. And so I got very excited because I had those at home, so I would read ahead because I was impatient and I needed to know what was going to happen next. And that little competitive streak and my desire to know everything just dove me deep. And so from that point on, I was the kid begging for my parents or my grandparents to drive me to the bookstores for the midnight releases. I won tickets to the midnight early release, like 2 days before it came out officially, early release of the second Harry Potter movie. And my dad, bless his heart, drove me like 2 hours to go see this movie like 2 days before it came out on a school night.
That's true love right there.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. It was that important to me. Like it was just, I got picked up early from school for the first movie when it came out. Like it was that big a deal, and I was obsessed with it. It was so formative. I was doing the chat room forums for Harry Potter, writing fan fiction, I was Hermione how many years in a row for Halloween, like everything. Yeah. And, Harry Potter merch, obviously I gravitated to a lot at cons. And I mean, I have a Ravenclaw candle from when we were, doing our artist alleys, from Fizzy Fairy Apothecary, which is, oh, that candle smells so freaking good. So freaking good.
When we can hang out again, I will definitely smell the candle for sure.
Candle. You're going to be so happy. You're just going to stick your nose in it and just,
yes.
Yeah.
I know, like, I've gone to, like, 2 of the parks so far, because I did, when I was in UK in 2018, we did, like, the London studios, so we did, like, all the sets and stuff, and so, like, it's hard for me now, like, looking at those pictures, like, I'm like,
yeah,
I love Harry Potter, and I still love Harry Potter, and, like, part of it's, like, really fun, but then part of it's just, like, leaves, like, a bitter taste in your mouth, like,
yeah,
very upsetting, because it hurts.
It's kind of forever tinged in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, and sorry, go ahead.
No, you just continue.
Yeah, and for me, like, I am, like, cisgendered, so, like, to me, I haven't had to experience any of that kind of hate before, and then, like, and, like, I've heard about it, and obviously I try to make myself more aware and realize my privilege, but then, like, actually, like, seeing someone who you actually respected, like, say stuff like that, you're like, whoa, like, and then now it's hard because it's, like, part of me is like, I don't feel like I can share those pictures because then I don't want people to associate that I support that. Like, so it's kind of really hard. And I don't want people thinking that anyway. So, like, for me now, it's like, I generally steer away of buying licensed product and instead buy stuff from, like, small business creators who I know she ain't getting none of the money for. Because I feel like, too, we've basically, like, as society has adopted Harry Potter as our own and made it our own thing now. So, in that world. So
yeah, and that's what I'm seeing a lot of is people choosing to go, and I think that's totally valid. Everybody kind of has their own for a fandom that for a lot of us, like, was really important to you for whatever reason. It doesn't matter how many years you were. You don't have to be a diehard, like, oh, I grew up with Harry Potter, to have it mean something big to you. Fandoms are like that. Like, something that you encountered 2 years ago could have been really formative and mean a lot and been really impactful in your life, because that's what media does. So I totally respect, and I'm in many ways I'm kind of that same boat of supporting small creators that I know who they are and where their values are, and creators who, if they have the means to put their money where their mouth is, and support charities, support efforts, and spread awareness for good causes. And then, so I have a wand that's made by a small creator, and I think she's kind of stepped away from making wands. I'm not entirely sure. I know she had a hard time because she is trans when everything came out, and was a diehard. But look at this. I just want to show this off. Her name is
Oh, that's
Mira.
so pretty.
What was the artist's name? And
So
she made this wand for me. It's absolutely stunning. And in its core is a piece of a pride flag from her first Women's March.
Okay, that's really cool and meaningful.
Yeah, it's really special, and this kind of transcends, Harry Potter the IP. This is a story. This is a meaningful connection. And those still have values, and I definitely support that. As far as the official stuff, I've been to Harry Potter World, the one in LA, once. I haven't been to the East Coast one or any of the other parks ones. Probably will never. Step foot in one. Again, like, I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not going to be buying any of her products. I have so much official stuff. So much. I have old school Harry Potter trading cards. And when I say trading cards, I'm talking like this stuff started to come out before the movies came out. So it's all like artwork. There are no photographs. There are no movie stills. All of the references and the architecture, the styles are very different. This was all pre that. Literally thousands of those cards that I had collected. And with those, with a lot of other things, I've just kind of been Marie Kondoing it. Both my official stuff and my non-official stuff. What brings me joy?
Mm-hmm.
What has a memory attached to it? What I still enjoy looking at, and what doesn't. And if it doesn't bring me joy, if I don't really want it anymore, then I'm getting rid of it. I'm not going to guilt myself into getting rid of all of it, because at this point, it's about even the official stuff. It's done and paid for. Like,
yeah,
what I do with it, no more or less money is going to go into her pocket. It doesn't matter. Like, it just matters on the feeling that it gives you, or it gives me, by having it in my house, by having it up where I can see it. How does that affect me?
That makes sense. That's basically like the license stuff I've kept so far is very sentimental to me, and I've gotten rid of like a lot of the other stuff. Like, I still have like the wand I got from the park, just because that was like a fun experience and very memorable. But yeah, like, I wouldn't go buy them again or anything, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
It is hard. And it's, because I've got cosplays sitting up that I probably won't put on ever again. It's like, what do I do with that stuff?
Yeah. I know, it's especially like those of us who like associate with houses too. Like, I'm Slytherin, so it's just like all my Slytherin stuff, and I'm like, oh no. Part of it's like, yay, and the part I'm like, some of it I think I might just like pack up for now and put in a box and then see how I feel about it later. Because I also don't want to like go through and just get rid of stuff because I'm angry and then get really upset later because I got rid of something that actually was meaningful to me. So
right. And it's so complicated. Not like I totally get the not wanting to act just out of just a heat of the moment thing. And, we've definitely had that moment. My my brother-in-law is trans, and we love him dearly. And as he's going through his own struggles and trying to find it, there's that big sister mode comes out in both my wife and I when we're dealing with, or when we hear about anything, because while I'm cis, and my wife uses they her pronouns, so we don't fully understand because we don't live it. But, there's people we care deeply about. And at the end of the day, like, what do we care about more, an IP or a person we love?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. It.
I feel like we need like glasses of wine for this.
I know. We should have grabbed wine for this.
I have no wine currently in this house because I don't really drink. I have a Guinness up there, but I don't want to get up, so.
Yeah. We have wine because we always have wine in this house.
You guys,
that's what we do.
I always like associate with wine. I'm like, Stephanie and Michaela.
Yeah. But it was actually connecting both wine to this. We have a really fun set of wine glasses. I don't think they're official, but they were given to me for, I don't remember if it was a birthday or what, by a good friend of ours. And one wine glass says, "I solemnly swear I'm up to no good," and one says, "Mischief managed."
Most excellent.
And those used to be our default wine glasses. And then like I brought them out the other day and we both realized like, wow, it's been like, I don't think we've used these since like before the pandemic started. Like, and we didn't really have that discussion. We didn't really talk about it or like, I don't want to use this. Like we just found ourselves gravitating to other wine glasses every time we had wine.
I had that with like other stuff, so I'm like, oh wait, I forgot I owned you.
Yeah. And like we'll be keeping the glasses because while we have a lot of others that we default to, that's still like, if someone was really thoughtful in getting those, and that friendship still meant a lot. And was important, and we've had like they're associated with a lot of good memories. So it's that same thing. It's Marie Kondoing. Like Harry Potter requires Marie Kondoing essentially.
I've like, no joke, you guys, since the pandemic has started, Marie Kondoed my entire thing. So in California, March 19th of 2020 is when the governor was like, okay, so we're going into lockdown. And I remember like leading up to that, none of us believed it was going to happen. We were like, oh no, deny, totally denying. And we were in the middle of moving at that point because our old house was being sold. So we were moving to this house. And so basically it was also my roommate's birthday. So literally when they announced that he was closing it, we were like, what does this mean? Does this mean we can't move? Does this mean we don't get help? So literally we moved our entire house in 24 hours. We packed the whole thing, got our friends, moved everything here. And then obviously the lockdown started. And at that point I was doing another job. And so like everything was shut. And we literally spent 2 months just like Marie Kondoing the house. Like any box I opened, I was like, what's getting, like before we put the house up, I was like, well, now that I have all this time on my hands, went through everything box by box. And still like now that we're a year later, I'm like going through and I'm like, okay, I still don't have any attachment to this piece. Like I kept it for a year. It's time. Break up with it.
Yep. Put so many clothes in thrift store boxes over this pandemic where I'm going, wow, I'm never going to wear that again. Like I've gone 2 seasons now without wearing like, this is a winter outfit. It's been 2 winters. I haven't worn it. Time to get rid of it.
Upcycling, saving the environment by upcycling.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, so it's and I think also beyond going back to the thing. So obviously, it's easy enough to say like, oh, I'm not going to buy an official IP item. I'm just going to buy it. And that's totally valid if that's what you choose to do. But there is one thing to consider, especially on the cosplay angle of things, is the power of free marketing to IPs.
True.
And even when it's not like let's use a non-charged example. Resident Evil. A Resident Evil Village has absolutely capitalized on the fact that their main villain, Lady Demath, I can't pronounce her name, tall vampire lady mom. She dropped in a trailer and everyone lost their minds. And I understand completely. No, and I'm with the people, like, I'm for the first time in my life considering playing a Resident Evil game. Like, I'm not judging. I'm right here going, yep, nope, this is good. Oh, she's going to stalk me in the game, and that's bad. Oh, okay. I'm right there with you. But she has been a breakout hit for the company. And just, I think, early this week or like late last week, Yaya Han, if one of the two cosplayers that everybody knows, dropped a cosplay of her that was sponsored by Capcom, right?
Square Enix. It was Square Enix.
I don't know. Sorry. I'm bad with sometimes with. See, Resident Evil is in my fandom, clearly.
I know because I saw it and I was like, oh my god.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So they sponsored her to do that cosplay. And companies frequently sponsor cosplayers to do cosplays of upcoming games, of movies. It seems like games are a little bit more common, but you even have like the Marvel will have cosplayers show up to certain events. You're like, oh, we like your cosplay. We'd like you to do this. Or they have that Marvel Becoming series where they, again, commission cosplayers to help make content for their shows. There is absolutely marketing power in cosplay and cosplay trends and popularity. And it is one thing to consider on that end. And what the right answer is, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody's story or everybody's truth. That's, you can only do with your own. Mm-hmm. But that is something to consider on the cosplay end, and why I've been really, really hesitant about what to even do with my Harry Potter cosplays.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I do not want one of my most popular cosplay photos that I ever put out that went just like bonkers overnight was from and that was a really dumb game, and I still am so mad about its production, the Harry Potter mobile game. Marilla Snide. Like, that was, I still get notifications on that one, and that was posted years ago. I still guess what? That was marketing for that game. It's a really crappy game too. Good characters, crappy game.
Yeah.
And there's that level of how comfortable. And again, not a good answer, but if you are a cosplayer, I do think it is worth some self-reflection, especially now. We've had a lot of time to do it, about how much you are comfortable with contributing toward the popularity of an IP. Because when certain hashtags are popular, when certain characters are trendy, when certain, audio files are trending on TikTok, you are telling the companies that own that IP something. And what you are telling them is that that IP is profitable.
Makes sense. I didn't even think about the cosplay side, but I'm like, because my brain automatically, because I don't cosplay as much anymore, so I don't think about that. And I haven't photographed a Harry Potter cosplay in like forever, but like, like to me, my brain automatically goes to licensed products, parks. I don't think about like, that, but that makes a lot of sense, and definitely, And I don't have really any Harry Potter cosplays to think about that. Otherwise, I think I would be very upset. But like, I wasted money on this, and now you're here.
I mean, at least like, the main, that one Harry Potter cosplay I did it in a group of 3 other friends.
Mhm.
We were all dressed up as Quidditch captain, and they asked me to be Slytherin, which is hysterical because I am either a Hufflepuff or a Ravenclaw, depending on the day. Not a Slytherin.
Mhm.
In fact, the more Slytherin gear I put on, the more like an excitable sugar high Hufflepuff I start acting.
Really?
It's really funny to watch. Oh my gosh, it's hysterical. Everybody cracked up. I just get like very giddy and run around and like I just become the like that meme of the Hufflepuff and Slytherin friends.
Oh,
I
yeah.
become that Hufflepuff friend as I put on Slytherin gear. Yeah, so that at least like I will treasure those photos that I took because a very good friend of mine took those photos of all of us and individually. And I was with 2 people that I was already good friends with. I got to know somebody that I became friends with afterwards, you know, as a group. So there is, I can't say I regret it because I don't, but I probably won't do it again. That particular one, it was good, and then it wasn't, and that's just
I feel like that can be said
something
of
we
like
have to.
different parts of life too. Is like
Mhm.
like moving on
It
from
was good, and then it wasn't.
relationships and anything and stuff you discover later
Mhm.
was bad. And it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, there's definitely like there's stuff. Even like it's so weird. Like I went through like my old Facebook history because now I was like I've been on here for 12 years and stuff. I found like that aged very differently than I expected.
Mhm.
It's just like yeah, just you're like well that was a part of my life and it's nice to revisit it. However, we are moved on now.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And above all, like, I think it's also really important too to consider, you know, I brought up before that I can't speak for everybody's journey or truth or where they fall in the comfort. You know, I'm sure that there are even trans people out there who are gonna buy IP stuff, who are gonna cosplay, and that's their decision. Like that's their life, their choices, and it's not really my place to judge that.
Mhm.
You know, and that kind of goes the same too with where people land on things. Like if you see somebody cosplaying, or somebody you know selling their own merch, not licensed stuff, at a con, you know, you can't assume where they fall on issues, on
Yeah.
trans issues, on human rights issues. Um, I I don't think there's harm in, you know, it's okay to have a healthy level of skepticism. Be like, okay, you clearly are a Harry Potter fan, so we're a lot of us. You're still flaunting being a Harry Potter fan, okay, and maybe it meant a lot to you. You know, I am more critical of small companies or unlicensed companies selling stuff. And I kind of look at them through a critical lens. And there's been a couple of companies that I've seen, like with everything going on, they have said nothing and
Yeah.
still are advertising their inspired merch. And I've seen companies that, or small artists, see what's going on, make it very clear where they stand. Sometimes they also offer, you know, would offer charity donations, but make no uncertain terms of how they feel about trans rights. And I do commend those people, because when I just get silence and you're not acknowledging that there's complicated feelings and issues and discussions around it, that's when I personally, like, as somebody looking at Artist Alley, if I'm seeing people cosplaying all on and on, like, I don't know who you are, but if you're saying nothing, that's still, understand that's still the same as saying something.
Yeah.
You're still saying something with silence. No, I don't support people like jumping the gun and automatically like, well, why are you transphobic to someone who's said nothing?
Oh yeah.
But
Don't do that.
if you are, don't do that. Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole.
Your
But
mother
also
raised you better.
understand, but also understand that saying nothing, is still sending a message.
Yeah.
And that if you are cis, saying, oh, well, it doesn't bother me that she's transphobic, might not quite, okay, well, it doesn't bother you, but it's not about you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, all have to stand up for each other.
Yep.
I don't like when people think it's not my problem because it doesn't involve me, and I'm like, but it does though, because that could be you. Like, yeah, it's any part of life. Like, you must protect the most unpopular belief in order for yours to be protected. You can't just pick and choose what is right or wrong. Like, that's not a thing. So,
yep. Yeah. And sometimes it's not about you.
Exactly.
You know, with social issues especially.
Yeah.
If you are not part of the affected group, then you do your own self a disservice by not at least sitting down to listen to what people who are affected have to say. The worst that can happen is that you understand the world a little better, and that's never a bad thing.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I will definitely say, like, I'm a very different person than I was 10 years ago because I decided to sit and listen to people, and that's important.
Oh, yeah.
To recognize that.
Same.
And, yeah, we all have that journey, but, yeah, like Steph says, like, listen, have a conversation with someone, especially if it's something you don't know anything about. You'd be surprised. So,
yeah.
Yes. Especially when people are portrayed, people of different walks are portrayed, that sounds like weird. Especially when it's someone that comes from a different background than you. Like, listen, like...
Yes.
Try to understand and don't just throw words without any meaning behind them.
Yeah. Yeah, there are many people who have lived experiences that I will never fully understand. No matter how much I listen or how much I read, I will not understand because I haven't walked and lived that life.
Yep.
So it's important that if I want to be a considerate person, that, you know, I at least make an attempt. And even if I know I won't completely get it, there's no harm in me going, let me take myself out of the equation. Let me put my ego aside here and try and see where this person is coming from. Try to at least understand, you know, why there might be hurt, why there might be upset.
Definitely. This has been Wise Words with Stephanie. Tune in next week for
Stephanie yelling angrily at clouds.
Ooh.
Maybe.
I would love to go stand outside and yell angrily at clouds. Like, we could be like a cicada and just, like, come out every few years and scream at the sky, like...
Scream. That sounds like a wonderful life, frankly. I know that meme has been said, but it still sounds great.
Every time I see them, like, I'm at that point of the pandemic. Like, we just
totally
scream at the sky.
Right.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for listening. We love you guys so much, and we love having these conversations with you. And if you ever have anything you'd like us to discuss or talk about or like to give us feedback, feel free to reach out. We appreciate it. We hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you so much. This is Stephanie and
Sarah.
Have a good night.